experience, I think the richness is not what you're going to learn just from faculty, but also from, amongst yourselves. That's really a very good sign. Friends, now it's my very proud privilege to introduce to you all the guest of honor this evening, Paul William Bradley. Let's give him a big round of applause. Sir, you have been very kind to spare the time, in spite of having this personal challenge, and this speaks volumes about yourself for the cause of learning and your support for SPJ, and we are very thankful. Just a few words about, if I may say, Paul. He has been involved in international business throughout his entrepreneurial career, spanning across several senior management positions in Fortune 500 corporations. He started 7 companies, 2 of which have had initial public offerings. He has established new business entities in China, Southeast Asia, India, and the US. He is currently the chairman and CEO of Caprita International. He serves on the Asian Advisory Board for the joint venture Avista, Kulihan, Loke Investment Bank, Advisory Board of Cairo Society of ASEAN Region, Industry Advisory Board, of course, as I mentioned, of SPJ School of Global Management. He is a vice chairman and board member of Supply Chain Asia. He previously served as president of, this is very interesting, Arshia International, headquartered in India, publicly traded in the Bombay Stock Exchange, and as managing director of IDS International, and member of the Lee and Fang group of companies, publicly traded in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. He also mentors a lot of tech ventures. He received, if I'm right, your bachelor's in political science from University of Nevada in Las Vegas, and an MBA in international management from Thunderbird School of Global Management. He was selected by the World Economic Forum as one of the 40 new Asia leaders at an award ceremony presented by His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan, and he was selected as Asian Supply Chain Manager of the Year by Lloyd's FTB Publications in the year 2004. He previously worked in the US Senate and the British House of Commons and has served on several Singapore government advisory committees. He is a frequent speaker at global conferences and universities, has written several articles and has been interviewed by Newsweek, Fox Television, the Economic Times of India, the Business Times of Singapore, Excellency Magazine in the UAE, Supply Chain Vietnam, and other global media. Friends, he has also had a very important role to play in the inaugural companies of Ronald Reagan, Bush the Senior. He has received commendations and appreciations from them, and also the late British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Let's give a big round of applause.
I'll start standing and I'll end up walking. Give my best to Ishamuddin at Nestle in Malaysia. And engineering, are you really so passionate about being in engineering?
Oh no, I like engineering. It's not something that, but the intention of doing MBA is I want to really understand the minute details of how business works, and of course engineering helps you, because all the while when I was working with engineering, I know how business works and who makes the business, actually speaking.
So the reality is, the reason you're all here is to transform yourselves.
Yes.
And you need to dream boldly. And the reason you chose not a school, but a great school, is because hopefully you're going to work very hard. You're going to be incredibly challenged. You have your careers. You have a lot of knowledge already. You've already achieved great things in a lot of companies, but you haven't started yet. That's my point. You haven't even started. And what I want to hear is a bolder dream from each of you. I think your dreams are a fraction of what they can be. So don't be afraid of dreaming boldly of what you want to achieve, because everything is possible, and that's the reason you came to the school in the first place. So if your goal is to be a general manager at a company because you're a manager, you shouldn't have come here. Your goal should be to be the CEO, to start a company, to do things that transform society, to do things that give back to society. That's how you inspire yourself to be a great student, so you can become a great leader. So some of your comments are a little tame today. Next time I see you, I hope you'll be aggressive, like you standing up and taking the podium. But the fact is, I did this. I was a middle-class guy in Las Vegas, of all places. I got involved with campaigns since I was 15. And then I got pulled to work in the US Senate. And it changed my life. And then I went back to school. Forgive me for sitting down with a broken foot. And then I went back to school. And then I competed against 20,000 people for one of 5 positions to work in the British House of Commons, with a very bad salary, but a great experience. And that was an amazing adventure. And my former boss from Parliament became my business partner while I went to graduate school. And then I thought, I'm going to go into politics. And then I realized there are too many lawyers running around. And I thought, I want to do business. I want to do my MBA. But I want to do my MBA in global management. I want to connect to the world. And I went to a school similar to this, Thunderbird School of Global Management, 84 countries. And it changed my life. And I learned Spanish, because I thought I'd go to South America. But obviously my Spanish wasn't good enough, so I came to Asia instead. And a Japanese company brought me to Asia, Mitsubishi, as the first Westerner to set up China, to run Asia. And I absorbed a new culture. And then I did the US JV. And then I joined Li & Fung, the leading Chinese group. And I absorbed Chinese culture. And I built a company and ran 3 others, and we did an IPO on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Then I went to India, and I started a company with Mr. Mittal. And we created logistics parks and railroads in India, and we took that public. And then I became part Indian. And I hired 12 people out of this school in one round. In one shot, I hired 12 graduates of SP Jain. I brought some to India, I put some in Dubai, Qatar, and Oman. And that later I decided I better be on the advisory board when Nitish invited me, because I have a stake in the school and where you go with this future, right? And I didn't want old talent in India to build a visionary company. I wanted new generation talent that dreams without barriers. There are so many barriers in India. Very challenging experience for me to be president of an Indian public listed company. But so many barriers. 7 layers just to buy land for the FTWZ, and I'll leave out the details. Running our own railroad. When I was a kid, we played with trains. When I went to India, we owned our own trains. Kind of fun. And IT company we built and deployed across the region. But I wanted SP Jain graduates and one good IIM Ahmedabad graduate, just to have balance. And I wanted them not to be constrained, to help me build a 4PL company, to help me do new things. And they were awesome. And we worked light hours, a lot longer than you're going to work at this school. And we built an amazing story. And then I thought I want to reinvent myself. And I came back and I just thought, which is what you're all here to do. And I wanted to reinvent myself. So I thought, okay, I've done politics, I've done supply chain management, I've done IPOs, let me reinvent myself. So I came back, started a holding company, got involved with investment banking, got involved with restructuring companies, got involved with mentoring tech startups when I'm certainly not a tech guy. So the beautiful thing with tech startups is they're dreaming without limits. And while I'm teaching them how to build the business, they're teaching me twice as much. I'm learning every time I work with a tech startup, I'm learning 3 times more than I think I'm giving them. And I'm giving them some good value, by the way. But the point is, we're all learning constantly. Not only when you get your degree again, but the rest of your life. And we're in a new era called knowledge network orchestration. And you don't have to have physical assets, you can have virtual assets. The people who control the knowledge, the people who control the networks, the people who know how to manage and orchestrate all the entities around them are the controllers of the new global economy. So get out of the box. I'm going to argue most of you have been in little boxes, working in your companies, in really good roles. But get out of the box. Become an orchestrator. Learn how to move across. What is an orchestrator? It's Li & Fung, the largest manufacturer in the world, 22,000 factories in 58 countries, without owning any factories. They virtualize the factories, but they make all the products, so many famous products you can't imagine. Why? Because they're a virtual orchestrator. What is Apple, iTunes? I control the network, but if I give you access to my network, I'll take 30% of every sale. So Hollywood movies, TV shows, movie recordings, some of you creating apps, but I'll take 30% because I control the network. So I'm a big believer that networks drive the new economy and continuous knowledge, because none of us are as smart as we think we are. And lifelong learning is real. But the beautiful thing is you get to reinvent yourself anytime you want. Politics, logistics, to supply chain, to investment banking, to tech startups. What else shall I make up? Same with each of you. You can do engineering because it's an amazing field. And you can do anything else because you want to. I want all of you to be so good at what you do that you don't have to do what you do. You can do anything. So conquer an area when you graduate that you really believe in, but don't lock yourself in where that's what you have to do the rest of your life. That's not how the future is anymore. You get to readjust, you get to reinterpret, you get to recreate your own life story anytime you want through your career. And the more you do that, the more powerful and the more impactful you become as a global leader. Las Vegas, to Japanese company, to Chinese company, to Indian company, and Middle East. Now when I go back to the US, I'm lost. I don't know how to fit in anymore because I'm a mixture of everything. What a privilege. So we have a thing that when you become an expat, don't be the typical American who lives in a condo full of Americans and goes to the American club. Don't do that if you're British. Don't do that if you're Japanese. Don't do that if you're Indian. Live in the condo where all the local people live. Go to the local restaurants, the local places. Absorb the culture. Become part of the culture. And learn every day while you're impacted. That's why you came to this school. Hopefully. I hope that's why you came to this school. So when you go overseas, absorb another culture. Now the beautiful thing is, I made so many mistakes. So many cultural mistakes. Because I was in charge of 14 countries. And I moved across, and I made my cultural mistakes. But what I learned is just by trying, you become accepted to the culture. So when I'm in India, and the fact that I watched Black and Lagan, and I know some Bollywood songs, that was enough to help. Not much, but a little bit, okay? And the same with Jay Chow and Jackie Chan and other things. Every culture, absorb it. And don't live in your silo. And by the way, those of you who are ethnic Indian have the same risk as we Americans do. That you're living in Singapore, but you're going to spend all your time with other Asian friends, right? Don't, please don't. Become part of the culture you live in. Move to other cultures. So the best interview I ever had was Victor Fung, who's one of the top billionaires of Hong Kong, on the board of Harvard, former professor, on the board of Bank of China, on the board of Credit Suisse First Boston, on the board previously of GM, and I can go on and on. But he has 264 companies of his own in 58 countries, 3 public listed. In my interview, he said, I don't believe in expats. They're not worth any more to me. I believe in experts. I want to find the best person in each field, worldwide. I want to get the very best people in terms of their expertise. But I want to know they can adapt culturally. Not by language, but way beyond that. And I want to put the Brazilian in Hong Kong, and the Hong Kong Chinese in Paris, and the Parisian in London. That's interesting. And the American in Singapore. So be the American and go to Singapore. But what I want to know is I can move all of you around the world at any time I want, and you can execute what you do so well, but you can adapt immediately to any of the cultures, not by the language. So I study Spanish. I forgot a lot of it. But I'm so thrilled to have the privilege of being in Asia for half of my life now. And every day I learn so much. So you're not at a normal school, you're at a leading school, recognized by Forbes and the Financial Times. And you should work hard, but like my experience at Thunderbird and your experience here, you need to learn from each other. You should learn half of everything by interacting with each other, and the other half by interacting with faculty. Don't tell them I said that. But that's the point. And when you go run a company, you should be learning from the employees. I've run a lot of companies up to 3,500 staff in different countries, but I walk around. Please don't do your emails all the time. I do my emails a lot of times. I used to have 800 to 1,200 emails a day and 18 to 20 meetings a day. But I still need to walk around my operations in my facility because I need to interact with people. If you're Chinese, I need to push positive chi force out to energize the organization, and I need to study what people are doing. I can't do that with a computer. So never be too busy to interact with the people that determine whether you succeed or fail, which is everyone around you. As a leader, and I admit this every time, always hire people who are better than you are. I'm good at a lot of things. I have my ego. You don't run a company without having an ego. You don't build something from scratch, getting hammered, attacked, dealing with crises without having an ego. It's just reality. But never show the ego. Never talk down to other people. Because every human being is of equal value, except those who think they're better than others. Which is why a certain billionaire with a very expensive house at $1.7 billion did not impress me when I met him twice in Bombay. But But Narayan Murthy and Mr. Premji and Adi Godrej impressed me a lot because they're humble and they're amazing. And they care about people. And people want to do anything to support them, which is a lot better than letting the ego drive. You'll see both, but become the right one. And that how you treat the team around you. I always get a stronger CFO because they're much smarter than I am in finance. And then give me the dashboards so I can make decisions. I want a better operations head than me because I get into operations, but then I get bored with it. My mind's too aggressive. So I want someone who's really good, like Chaitanya Prabhu in India, who just could run the operations brilliantly. Chia Chek, who now heads DHL as country manager in Taiwan. These are guys that can really run operations so much better than me. But I can create the strategic vision. I can build the business. I can grow the people. I can play with the environment by putting better people in it than me. But whoever controls the environment controls the company. And as we move to knowledge network orchestration economy, constantly learning beyond your comfort zone, humbling yourself to learn from those around you is not only a good idea, it'll determine whether you even survive in business at all. You don't even have a choice. But you come to a school like this, so you learn the value of other cultures and of each other, and even within India, all the different states. The fact is, when you get power, if it changes you, you don't deserve it. And I got that lesson early, thank God, because when I was in the US Senate, I was with senators and I met presidents and I was like in a wonderful world. And without realizing it, I changed. And then when friends visited me, they said, you know, we're really proud of you, but you've changed. And I thought, yeah. And they said, you have a hell of an ego. And I thought, I'm so grateful you told me. And I quit. And I went back to finish school. And I did 25 hours a week of charity work for the next 2 years. Because I realized I needed to give back. Because I'm human and so are you. But I saw someone get a title as a senator, my boss, Senator Laxalt, who was governor of Nevada before, and the son of a Basque sheep herder immigrant. And when he was the best friend of the president, head of the Republican Party before they became crazy in the last 10 years under Bush Jr., the fact is, he always stayed humble. And I saw other senators who got a title and talked down to people around them, even their own staff. They couldn't have eye contact. So this was my experience I share with you, because you all will fall into that trap once or twice. And you can justify why you're special, but don't let the people around you feel it. Because you're a multicultural leader, and our skill is that we can move across cultures without people realizing. That's why you came to this school, I hope. So my criticism from the introductions, because you have a lot of great stories, is I don't think you're bold enough for what you're capable of becoming. I think you're all holding back. And this is not the place to hold back. So if this is your first week starting this program, you're already working, you're already making money. So if you're coming to this school and you're playing the opportunity cost, you better believe in what you're going to get out of it. You better squeeze every opportunity out of it. And you better make sure you transform in a major way at the end of this 2-year cycle. Otherwise, you were foolish, or you weren't good enough. So the opportunity is here. But next time you sit in this room, I hope you'll share with everyone what you really want to become, and not what you think they want to hear. You should say, I want to be CEO of a company. I want to build my own company. I want to create something that doesn't exist. Or I want to go in a company and I want to unleash the talent of thousands of people in the organization. Because I can. But not that you want to learn to be a general manager. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. You're better than that. or you wouldn't have come to the school, I hope. But we learn as we go along. You learn to deal with crises. Since I came to Asia, I had a lot of interesting things. I had 5 ships at $80 and $100 million each going to Kobe when the earthquake hit, and I had to redeploy them 12 hours before they were supposed to land in Kobe port. So I had to deal with that. In my 20s in Hong Kong, I had a ship sink in the Hong Kong harbor. We were subcontracting it, but it sunk with chemicals. I had to deal with that. I had a great operation for a major retailer in India, and we took over and moved everything into a great warehouse, and the monsoon hit, and the next day it was 4 feet underwater, or I don't know how many meters, maybe like 2 meters, 2.5 meters underwater. Then, did I sit at my office when my team was out there? No, I went and up to here in the water because my team was there, so I had to be there with them as president of the company. But the fact that I did that, for me, I just should have done it. It was automatic. But the fact that I did that, they were more dedicated than ever. They worked so hard, but that's what you're supposed to do. When there's a crisis, you're supposed to be out there. Well, I was in India when the 10 bombings hit, and I missed being at the Taj by 15 minutes, but my friend's wife and daughter were there and got out at 4 in the morning with the commandos. I've been in the Middle East, and I've had a friend blown up by Al-Qaeda. All these things happen. I even broke my foot at a wedding in Bali a couple weeks ago. But the point is, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have things hit you, and you're not allowed to flinch as a leader. No matter what you think, you can't show it. It's not just the president who has to be cool under pressure. You have to be cool under pressure. So please don't think you're just learning stuff in school so you can take exams and get a high GPA. Learn how you adapt with culture. Learn how to deal with pressure. Learn how, when you're under stress, not to show it to those around you, because as a leader you can't. I had a point where I was starting up a company for USJV and we ran out of money and I didn't have the money to pay anyone. And I couldn't tell anyone that, so I walked in and I was talking about all of our growth and stuff, and I was building contingencies. Because you can't show them. I was ordered by a US company to fire 2 staff during the financial crisis. But I realized they were more important to the company than I was. So I told him, the president of the US company, I said, you can fire me right now if you want, but you're not allowed to tell me who to fire on my staff. They're my staff. You want me to run Asia? I decide who's here, and if you don't like the performance, you have my resignation right now. And he said, I don't care, fire the 2, and he flew away, right? 6 months later, well, what I did was I actually ordered the CFO to pay their salary out of my salary for about 8 months. I didn't let anyone know. I didn't let them know either. I just absorbed it through my salary because they were good. Well, they turned out to be better than good. They turned out to be amazing. And they helped me grow the business and get new customers. And I ended up promoting them 4 times. And one of them I took with me to another company later. And later the president of the company came back from the US, the owner, and he said, I told you to fire them. And I just looked at him and I said, you can still have my resignation. But remember, if you're in charge of something, be in charge of it. And if you're a leader, don't scapegoat people under you because you need to survive. It's cowardly, but it happens all the time, including at the best business schools. You're there to succeed, you're there to do great things. And if something's wrong and you get attacked as a face issue, you maybe will blame other people around you, then you're not worthy of leadership, honestly. So I'm just telling you things you may confront from my own experiences, okay? And we always go back to school. I went back to Wharton, I went to Stanford Nexus, I'm going to go do another thing at Harvard or Oxford. Every 3 to 5 years, go back to school, learn again. Because everything we do, we're behind. Learn how to manage information. because you're going to get overwhelmed by it. But no matter how many emails I have and how many decisions I have to make, I can't justify the time on that to be away from interacting with my customers and my team. So I have to do emails at 2 in the morning and 3 in the morning every day. But you know what? Other CEOs are exchanging emails with me at the same time. And then we think, oh, you're also crazy. You're up late at night. Yeah, so are you. So are you. It happened to me yesterday. 3 different CEOs. We're all exchanging emails at 2:46 in the morning. Made me very happy that there are other stupid people out there. But if I didn't do that, I'm not interacting with customers. I'm not interacting with my team. But as a leader, your role is to get people who are better than you, but to create an environment where everyone collaborates, where everyone benefits in success, and where you take the criticism for what happens with your team members, but you give the encouragement and the rewards to the team members when you get patted on the back. That's what leaders do. My criticism of all business schools is we teach people to be managers. Even here, every school, we learn to be managers. But what you need to learn is to be leaders. If you're in politics, statesmen. When I was in the Senate, we had 6 out of 100 senators were statesmen. They would have given up their careers to do the right thing. Today, I can't name one. They're all just protecting themselves. And whatever school we go to, whatever great schools, Thunderbird, SP Jain, Harvard, Wharton, Oxford, it's still human nature to learn how to be a manager, to manage the processes and the things around you. But that's not how you change the world. Life's too short. And we got to learn from each other. But I believe all businesses are under threat of disintermediation. Every single business is under threat of disintermediation. There isn't one that isn't. I think the entire banking industry is going to be attacked viciously in the next 10 to 15 years. Why? Because there's so many ways of virtualizing the way money flows. The banks, I was speaking at the Asian Bankers Conference at the Hong Kong Convention Center with 1,200 bankers. It's the main event. We had Bank of England and we had the Federal Reserve and others there, and then I went up and I said, those of you in the banking industry, and I'm on the board of an investment bank, I said, those of you in the banking industry are still processing letters of credit, which were invented in the 1400s, by the way, or before the 1400s. You're processing letters of credit, and we're retyping documents, and you're charging fees for it the same way it worked 400 or 500 years ago, because you can. But I'm already meeting with entrepreneurs who left the banking industry, who are creating new ways to completely automate and bypass that entire system, which will cost the banks hundreds of billions of dollars. And it's already out there. It's just a question of building it. Every single industry. Who is one of my heroes? I've met a lot of interesting heads of state and business leaders, and I'm inspired by most of them, except the people who build $1.7 billion houses in India, and a few, and Donald Trump and some others I might mention, but most are amazing. But never forget where you started from. I remember my dad made $38,000 a year, and so I feel very blessed that I've had these amazing opportunities, and my brother. And for you, same. But never forget. But when you look at technology, someone who's just amazing to me is Elon Musk. You all know Elon Musk. Who doesn't? Raise your hand. Be honest. Anyone? Okay. Elon Musk starts PayPal with 2 other partners. Sells it, gets a few $100 million. Then he reinvests 100% of it. And he starts Tesla Motors, an electric car that blows away Toyota and General Motors and anyone else. With all their billions, with all their R&D, out of nowhere comes one of the best cars, which I got to drive when I was in California last time. It's unbelievable. It's a land-based rocket ship. It talks to you when you get in the car. It's just unbelievable. He made it. He invested all of his money. He went twice to the edge of bankruptcy. He has the best car. He built electric refueling stations across the entire United States, and if you buy the car, it's free for the rest of the time you own the car. So you never pay for fuel when you go to an electric station. If you go to his, they're free for the rest of your life as long as you own the car. But what he's really doing is he's building the grid, so when other electric cars come in the market, he's already dominating the entire electric grid system for electric cars across America. Genius. The car is amazing. No, not enough. So then with his cousins, he creates Solar City and invests money in that. And the Solar City, I don't want to make you all too tired. You're all getting hungry, right? I'll try to finish it soon. But he creates Solar City. And Solar City is putting solar panels on houses and buildings. And they've done, well, they started it 6 years ago, and it's now the largest solar energy company in the United States. That's not challenging enough. So he gambles again, and he creates SpaceX. His rocket ships are fun. It was fun for me owning trains, but it's more fun owning rocket ships. So he creates a space company in California, and his rocket ships have connected to the space station twice already under NASA contract. And he's now one of the 2 companies that will execute all of the suborbital space flights for the United States government. Our satellites, all of that, we don't do anymore as NASA. He and one other company will be doing that, a Boeing Lockheed consortium and his company. But that's not enough. So Branson's cool. He has 2 planes that take you to outer orbit for 15 minutes, and you get in outer orbit and it costs you $400,000 to do it, because I was looking at it for myself, frankly, because I like that idea. But the reality is, he's already planning to go to Mars. Seriously. And the United States will land the first human colony on Mars at the end of around 2028. So we already are moving very fast, and they will stay on Mars and build a colony. They won't come back. So 2028, 2030, we'll start landing on Mars. And with Prime Minister Modi and Barack Obama, the US and India will start collaborating in space programs together in the future too, which is pretty exciting. From the Republic Day meeting, because that's my birthday, by the way. But the fact is, which was an advantage living in India, every time my birthday happened, the whole country celebrated. But the thing that's so amazing is he's already planning his own human colonies on Mars. In case we destroy our own country with our world with global warming or nuclear weapons, he's already planning in his lifetime to set up non-government colonies on Mars. Oh, and profit from it too, of course, because he's a good capitalist. Now that's the genius of a human being. I met Bill Gates when he was worth $104 billion. And he was humble and down to earth and just a superb human being. And 3 years later, 55 billion of it was given away to charity already. So to be the richest man in the world and to pledge to give all the money back and to keep $100 million for your kids and everything else goes to charity is pretty amazing. So are you good enough to build wealth, to change people's lives, and then to give it back and not keep it all for yourself later? Unlike certain New Yorkers running for president who have no chance right now. So how you give back to society is very important. So one of my things is how do we prepare the new generation to change society? And every one of you, when you manage people, every one of them, your main job, your main existence should be to unleash talent of every single person around you. That's your moral obligation. There are only 3 business schools in the world that have ethics oaths. The first was Thunderbird, my school. The second was Harvard, which went to my school and said, we like that idea, can we replicate it? And they were friends, the 2 deans, so it was like, then Harvard added an oath. And then Mr. Nitish Jain, who has a vision of connecting the world and globalizing as well, he wanted a unique, meaningful oath. So when you all took the oath, the candle is a candle, but when you took the oath, you're one of the few schools in the world that has a moral obligation to giving back to society. And I hope you remember that as you become more successful, that the ultimate path of a great leader is to unleash the talent around you, to give back to society, and to make the world something different because you were here. So there's a philosophy that I never forgot, and that is, when you're born, you have to justify your existence. And the ultimate definition of your wealth is how many other lives you've touched in a positive way before you leave the planet. So it could be a teacher, it could be a parent, it could be a CEO, it could be a doctor, but ultimately your wealth is that. At least I think so. In October, Nitish Jain and I will be at the Forbes CEO conference, and there are a lot of interesting people there. But the ones who really stand out are the ones who believe that. And you can already see them impacting society. They're using their success to multiply in amazing ways. So when you leave this great school, and with great faculty and a president who created this school out of his personal passion and vision, and building on his grandfather's legacy, I was privileged to be in India as the first non-ethnic Indian American to head a main public listed company. And I learned so much. And I learned a thimble of what I could have, because it's a long history, China and India. But I thought I better hire from a top school new talent. And when I left India, I felt I wanted to stay connected to India. So I had the privilege, with Nitish Jain as a friend, and with great faculty here, I had the privilege to come on with the advisory board early and to stay connected to the school. And we're just getting started. But always stay connected to the institutions that transform your life. And the last thing is, when you leave this school, why don't we create a real alumni network across the world? You need to do that. Promise me you're going to do that. So I zigzag between loyalty to my school and loyalty to SP Jain, because these are the few schools in the world. INSEAD copied Thunderbird's program. They all adapt. But the beautiful thing of SP Jain and Thunderbird and INSEAD is our alumni. They're global, they're a mix of cultures. But Thunderbird, every single city in the world, major city, we have a pub night the first month. Every month, the first Tuesday. And we connect. And I would like, and I know Nitish would like to see, when you graduate and you're unleashing your talent and the school helped you get there, can we start to build an alumni network for SPJ? In India, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Silicon Valley, where you have a lot of alums already succeeding and doing great things. And if we can do that in 4 key cities, we can start to build it globally, and that alumni network will be a major benefit to all of you, to help you connect, to help you maneuver. So build networks. Networks are so critical to the future. And the first network is all of you together. And when you leave this school, connecting with the other SPJ graduates. And then from there, build your personal networks. And remember something else. In the new economy, there isn't a company in the world that's going to be loyal to you, sorry to say. And the average American will change jobs 7 to 8 times, probably more in Singapore the way it is. But the fact is, you need to build your own personal brand. You need to have your own website. You need to go out to network, to speak at events, to interact. You need to build your own brand. And then when you join a company, you will commit yourself and your brand to helping benefit the company. And because you built your brand, you're going to have even more impact to help the company than just being a manager. But if you leave the company, you get to bring your brand with you to the next company. So in this new economy, don't be naive and don't get in comfort zone when every business is under threat of disintermediation, which is kind of exciting. But think how you're going to build your brand, your social media space, your market visibility, organize your data, everyone you meet, organize it into a system, and interact with it regularly because it's going to give you tremendous advantage as you become great leaders in the future. So, I don't want to hold you up from your dinner and my foot is about to give out on me, so I just want to wish you great success. It's courageous that you decided to go back and re-engage because you want to learn new things and you want to transform your life. And you don't want to be restricted to any space because now you can maneuver across all different areas when you finish this program. So do great things in the program, but more importantly, change the lives around you for the rest of your time on the planet. Then you will be great leaders and you will have made an impact in the world. Okay? Thank you.